Hello. We'll meet again. Don't know where. Don't know when. But I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
That should have actually been like the fucking end of Terror of Mechagodzilla as Godzilla's swimming back to presumably Monster Island, and
yeah, I mean it's a bittersweet song.
If he sang that,
a bittersweet ending.
It's like the final episode of Freakazoid.
Totally.
Do you mind that?
I do
like,
actually.
Like Freakazoid and Loeb and all the villains.
Yeah,
on
just
stage
singing
that, and like they're singing "We'll Meet Again," but you know they didn't.
That's perfect.
Freakazoid never came back.
I really could have done with like a modern day sort of Marvel era style Freakazoid film.
Was it you that said like fucking DC since Warner Brothers owned DC and Warner Brothers did Freakazoid?
Yeah,
Warner Brothers should just make
a Freakazoid movie.
A Freakazoid movie, and that can be like their Deadpool.
Yeah, no, literally, I think they really should have done that.
Yeah,
but kind of.
But you know.
Yeah, no, I think they should have.
It's a shame because I've said to you before, I think I actually agree with a lot of DC's creative decisions in terms of their films, but I don't enjoy their films.
Yeah,
whereas
still just a bit boring.
Whereas
though,
I strongly like disrespect a lot of Marvel's creative decisions, but I actually usually do end up enjoying their films.
Yeah, no, totally.
So that's where I come down. Either way, I'm unhappy.
Yeah, generally.
But you know what? This is the Kaijusaurus Podcast.
Really? I thought it was the vaguely superhero, whatever kind of movie podcast.
I don't know. I think we tied all that.
We're an all-rounder.
Yeah,
we're all-rounders here at Kaiju HQ.
We're finished the show series now, and if there's anyone out there who's stuck with us through all these fucking episodes, they know now that our minds like to wander.
Yeah,
they cannot be contained solely by one film series.
No,
well, mine can, but
no, I can't. I'm lost. I was saying to Steven earlier today that like with any film that I watch, there is a 30% chance that I will fall asleep. And that's at a base level. That's at me at my most energetic, at my most ready to watch a film. There's still a chance I'm
we're
fall
talking
asleep.
like you can fall asleep during like an 80-minute film.
Yeah, no. I can fall asleep during like an episode or something.
Like 80 minutes is your ideal runtime for a film.
Yeah, no, if I see a film is over 2 hours long, like I actually have to like kind of prepare myself, like mentally, and
mentally and physically. You know, I agree. Well, Terror of Mechagodzilla is. It's my first burp 2.5 minutes in. Terror of Mechagodzilla is 1 hour and 24 minutes.
Yeah, I was quite happy with that.
That's a nice.
Honestly, I will be honest. Here's a confession: I do check the run times of each film before we start.
Do you really?
Yeah, just so I know.
I didn't know that.
Just so I know.
That's
like
fair.
If I see
That's
like most of them are like an hour and a half, but there's occasional 2 hour ones that I'm like, better get some sleep from the night before.
The longest ones are Godzilla Final Wars, which is just over 2 hours. Godzilla 2014, which is just over 2 hours. And apparently, I think Shin Godzilla is the longest now. I won't know because I haven't fucking seen it.
Movies.
But that's like... well, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, movies are just long these days.
I had a dream last night where, this is obviously playing on my psyche. I had a dream last night. I was watching Shin Godzilla.
How?
Like, I'd managed... Well, wait.
Right.
I'd managed to find, like, a bootleg copy online or something. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, it's decent quality. I can watch it, etc. It was missing its last 20 minutes.
Fuck.
Like, even in my dream, I'm not fucking allowed to watch Shin Godzilla. And I woke up in a really foul mood.
That's so funny.
And it took hours to wear off.
That's so funny. Yeah,
it took
pissed off.
Fucking ages to get myself in a good mood again.
Because you missed the end
and
of
the thing
Godzilla.
is, like, I fucking got to work today, and I was like, oh, Stephen, how are you? I'm a bit miffed. Oh, why? I can't tell you.
Because I sound like a fucking huge
it'll
nerd.
Make no fucking sense.
My creative abilities are not good enough to come up with the end of a Godzilla film. I'm so annoyed with myself. That's funny.
So, this is the Kaijusaurus Podcast.
What do we do in the podcast?
This is the podcast in which a lifelong fan and a newbie navigate their way through the 30-plus Godzilla canon.
It's 30 plus now, officially.
30 plus, yeah. Thanks to Shin Godzilla, which I hope to see the last 20 minutes of one day.
Yeah, so what's the deal with Shin Godzilla?
Right. We'll get Steven's fandom rant out of the way early let's get it out of the way early.
You got to be in your bonnet, mate.
I am getting really sick of, like, American fans right now, like, really fucking pummeling Funimation, the film's US distributor, saying, "Oh, is the film playing in my state? Is the film playing in my city? Where's the nearest theatre to me playing it?" It's like, fuck off.
Just go.
Just get to fuck. We've not even got a fucking distributor announced, right? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people.
Get in your Greyhound bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Drive like 8 hours to your nearest city.
Yeah, well, that's it. There's so many fucking
Go
people
for it.
on,
Go
like,
for it,
on like
mate.
Facebook and Twitter and shit saying, "Oh, the nearest Shin Godzilla screening to me it's like two hours away. I gotta drive 2 hours to see Shin Godzilla, Coop." And it's like, fuck off! Do it then! Like, fucking do it! Make a fucking day of it! It's not gonna be like
a day out.
It's not, no, but you know what I mean? It's not gonna be
Yeah.
like a fucking normal day at the movies anyway.
I mean, that's
or
true.
at least it wouldn't be for me. But
You'd be
it's
well
like,
excited.
yeah, exactly. Make a fucking event of it for yourself, and then so shut up!
Shut up!
And just be happy. Honestly, like, just be happy. In the year 2016, you're getting a domestic, English-friendly theatrical release of a new Japanese Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I mean,
because we are
be grateful. Be grateful. Don't spit in Toei's face. They've given you a gift.
Whose face?
Is it not Toei anymore?
It's Toho.
Oh shit!
It's always been Toho.
Who's Toei?
Toei made like Super Sentai and Power Rangers.
Oh right, I got them mixed up.
Well, there's a Power Rangers movie coming out, but
Yeah.
I was never into Power Rangers, so I don't care to
But
discuss that.
they have Bryan Cranston. He's like the
Bryan Cranston.
connecting
Yeah,
tissue now.
Bryan Cranston was in Godzilla
Shared
2014.
universe.
Godzilla 2014 and did a voice in the original Power Rangers, apparently. Bill Hader's casting it now. Don't know who he's playing.
Red Ranger.
What if he's playing that pumpkin monster? A pumpkin rapping.
I'll be
is about
honest.
to happen.
I'll be honest. I also wasn't into Power Rangers, and it actually like really just annoyed me. And as a child, I thought the effects and all that of Power Rangers were really like
Lame.
I thought they were lame and terrible, and I didn't want to watch it. And I thought it was really cheesy and boring, and I still think that.
See, but Power Rangers is fucking cheesy. Like, I've never watched any of it in its original like Japanese format, like unedited. But like Power Rangers, what they do to the Japanese footage is cheesy as fuck. Like,
Yeah,
it's cheesy as all hell. You can't.
It is. Saying that though, I have seen like the original series, and we would definitely be the two like meathead guys, the jocks that like bully the Power Rangers. That's definitely our casting. Should we
should probably
talk about
get on
this film?
We should probably get on the subject of Terror of Mechagodzilla.
7 minutes of banter, guys. You're
But-
lucky.
You know, we've been
we've been away. Obviously.
We've been away quite a wee while.
That's why
it's been well over a month since our last episode was released. Well over a month, actually. And that's because, well, do you want to take it from here,
Yeah,
Ross,
so,
or?
well, we have several... Well, no, we don't have several. So, generally been busy, but I also have some good news.
Excellent news. I was thrilled.
This week, really, or last week, your boy, your favourite Ross, is engaged to be married to my long-term girlfriend, Abigail, whom I love very, very much. So we will be getting married. Isn't that nice, Steven?
I'm so
Do you
happy.
ship us, Steven?
I've fucking shipped you since day one, mate.
OTPs.
Like, you're my weird aunt and uncle.
Wedding gifts can be sent to the following address.
We're doing a GoFundMe for Ross's wedding.
10,000 grand, please. Thank you. It's gonna be a big wedding.
10,000 grand, not just 10 grand.
10,000
grand.
Yeah, 10,000.
10,000.
But yeah, no. So
10 million.
To be fair, guys, I was busy getting married and that, so that's why we didn't do a podcast.
Yeah, well, yeah. Ross.
I'm sure.
Ross. Engaged ain't married, my friend.
That's true. That's true. It's
Anything can
technically
happen.
not legally binding. Could cancel it at any minute. If I change my mind.
I mean,
sorry, Abby.
This podcast is going places.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have to just ship off.
Yeah, I might be too busy.
I
to
got
get
to
married.
ship off with the podcast.
Sorry. But yeah, no. So that's what I've been up to.
Cool. So Ross is engaged. Sorry, any
you went to Barcelona, Steven.
Fuck that. No, Barcelona was great. Apologies to any interested parties, but Ross is he's off the market.
Sorry,
sorry to disappoint.
Sorry. Never was on the market, mate.
Yeah, I was.
Right.
I went to Barcelona. That was fun.
Yeah, no, totally.
Barcelona was good with my girlfriend, and it was
Laura.
good.
We know Laura.
Yeah, Laura's. Yeah, Everyone knows who my girlfriend in the show is, Ross. Everyone who listens to this knows who Laura is.
Exactly.
Cheesy peeps.
Cheesy peeps. Right, at 9 minutes and 46 seconds into the podcast, let's begin. The Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Terror of Mechagodzilla. Okay, so it's a direct sequel to the previous film, and the film we discussed in our last episode, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, John Fukuda's film from 1974. For the last time in the Godzilla series, Ishiro Honda is back in the director's chair.
So this is his last film?
This is his last Godzilla film.
Right.
I
don't care about his other films.
Well, apparently no one fucking else does, because you can't get a fucking hold of them.
Really?
I'm swearing a lot on this episode.
That's alright.
But I'm impassioned today.
Yeah, exactly. It's a passionate show. We're
but
pumped.
like, fucking... Right, in the late 80s, in the mid to late 80s and 90s, okay, Ishiro Honda and Akira Kurosawa, you know... Did you fart?
No, I bumped something.
Ishiro Honda and Akira Kurosawa, legendary Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah, I know who he is, mate.
We're like lifelong close friends, and in the 80s they were both in like a real creative rut, and apparently they were playing around the golf together, and they just went, let's make a film together.
Oh, that's cool.
And so they made the film Ran.
Ran.
Do you know Ran?
No, I don't.
I think it's King Lear set in feudal Japan.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's called Ran. And you know, all across the world, like Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas brought it to America, etc. And made a whole show and dance out of it. You know, acclaimed director Akira Kurosawa's returned to the big screen. Ishiro Honda co-directed it.
Well, that's not fair.
But like, he voluntarily waived co-director credit and said, "You're fine to just
I'm just a Godzilla guy
as assistant director."
Yeah, well, that's very nice of him.
Kurosawa's run of films through the 90s, like his renaissance. He made lots of acclaimed films in the late 80s and 90s.
Right.
Ishiro Honda was co-directed all of them.
Really?
Yeah. He was the only person that Kurosawa trusted enough to just go off unsupervised
and just work on
it. Go and film some stuff. He knows it'll be good. So
that's really cool.
Hopefully one day Ishiro Honda will
kind of get the credit that he deserves. So
yeah, anyway, Terror of Mechagodzilla is Ishiro Honda's last Godzilla.
Well, that's good. It's a real shame to see him go.
Well, exactly. It's also the last film for actor not the last Godzilla film, sorry, for actor Akihiko Hirata, who we all know as Dr. Serizawa in the original and many more.
Is this his last one as well?
This is his last Godzilla film.
That's a shame.
In both his
end of an era, guys. Summer's over.
Well, it's back to school, everyone.
Back to school.
Well, I mean, the end of the Showa series is the end of an era, because the Showa series to me is just it's just such a golden age in sort of fantastic cinema. There's nothing quite like it.
It was so experimental.
Exactly. Like you're any other sort of long running franchise of that era. I mean, I can't think of many off the top of my head. I can think of James Bond and the Pink Panther. Mm-hmm. You don't get that level of like tonal inconsistency in a good way, and like just the incredible variety in everything.
Yeah, in absolutely everything. They were just doing things that really I don't think had been done.
So like honestly, the end of the Showa series, the end of the Showa Godzilla series, and by extension the end of Toho's kaiju output of that era is really the end of an era. And because of that, Terror of Mechagodzilla for me, and especially its last shot, is a really bittersweet experience. So yeah.
No, certainly.
And it's also, just going back to, summarising the film at length, it's also the only Godzilla film to date written by a woman.
Oh, that's good.
So
that's very good.
After Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, Shinichi Sekizawa, the screenwriter, was done. So Toho held a sort of, I think it was a company-wide competition.
Yeah.
So people just like pitch ideas. So writer Yukiko Takayama submitted Terror of Mechagodzilla, and it got made.
Oh wow!
So yeah, and to date the only Godzilla film written by a woman.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, and that Katsura as a character, that's kind of evidence in the screenplay because she's a great character.
Certainly, yeah. That there's just more. Well, I mean, I'll talk about this how much I just
enjoyed
the script. I'll talk about that in a wee bit.
So, Terror of Mechagodzilla. shall we fire right into it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ross, what did you think of
Right.
Terror of Mechagodzilla? Mechagodzilla no Gyakushu.
I really liked it.
Good.
Here comes the next bit. I liked it a lot more than Mechagodzilla.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
All right,
I did.
okay.
I really enjoyed Mechagodzilla last time. I did.
Oh, fuck.
But this movie, I think, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but this being Ishiro Honda's last film, it just feels like everyone is making such an effort.
Yeah.
There are some Godzilla films, I know Ishiro Honda made a lot of them, some have more enthusiasm in them than others. And that is not to say that I found that true of Mechagodzilla. I know a lot of people really, really think Mechagodzilla, and you were saying last time that a lot of people, that's really up there.
What do you mean? That was directed by Jun. I don't
Fukuda.
think there should have been any sequels made to the original Godzilla. Fukuda.
That's and I love Jun Fukuda, I talked about it the last time. But this film does all the right things by me, which is just strong characters. It's been a while, I think, the last couple of films where we've had just such strong sort of like actual character relationships and dynamics as the professor and the daughter, the professor and the two aliens, the daughter and the marine biologist.
Yeah.
Whom, by the way, having a character be a marine biologist just reminds me so much of an episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza pretends to be a marine biologist. And I just made myself laugh picturing that character in this situation.
Well, you also said it would be great, like if it was crossed over with Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Yes, there's a whole submarine section, so they definitely could have. But yeah, at the end of the day, just like really strong effort. Just feels very well directed, like a lot of actual care and attention went into it. There's menace, there's suspense, the fight scenes are absolutely fantastic. There's motivation. I think the motivation for even the alien characters is at the strongest. And the sort of dynamic between all these characters works so well. The entire Dr. Mifune sort of plot or character is great and just kind of elevates it a little bit for me. That is a kind of character type that we haven't ever seen properly in Godzilla before.
Yeah, the mad scientist.
Yeah, the mad scientist.
We've never. It's a popular misconception. You know, there's not a lot of mad scientists in kaiju films. Really,
No,
I mean,
no.
like there's scientists aplenty, but they're not mad.
Yeah, it's either
Dr. Serizawa is certainly not a mad scientist.
No, it's either force for good, ultimately a force for good, Serizawa, or sort of people that are just curious, want to know more, whereas...
Or people who are like literally scientists, it's my job.
Yeah, exactly, it's job, scientist, whatever, I go home, it's a Sims job. But yeah, no, Dr. Mifune really has like a real... There's a backstory there. And
What? Yeah. Well, yeah. There's a
right, so
lengthy
why don't we just
backstory.
dive right into the sort of a brief summary before we
Yeah,
go on?
we'll try and make this summary quick because I'm really keen to get into
Yeah,
the, chew the fat on
exactly.
this
I have a
one,
lot on this one, so let's just zoom through it.
So, it's a year after the black hole aliens' unsuccessful invasion attempt on Mechagodzilla. There's a submarine being sent to retrieve the remains of Mechagodzilla for whatever reason, but there's nothing there. Instead, they're attacked by a giant dinosaur. Enter Interpol and a marine biologist who want to investigate this missing submarine. Their efforts to investigate this lead them to the house of one Dr. Mifune, whom we later learn is apparently dead, and his house is now being looked after by his daughter Katsura. And I mean, Dr. Mifune's alive.
Yeah.
He's alive,
And he's working with a mysterious benefactor.
He's in bed with a mysterious benefactor that turned out to be the aliens who originally built Mechagodzilla and have savaged Mechagodzilla. And
These are the ape guys.
They're getting ready for it. I mean, it's actually interesting because watching it this time, it just struck me. There's absolutely nothing to indicate that this is actually the same species.
Yeah, we're only to
it's
assume
weird
because they have Mechagodzilla.
They have Mechagodzilla. Their aesthetic is vaguely similar, and the actor who plays the sort of lead alien he's in both films.
Yeah.
And he plays the same. He doesn't play the same role, but he plays the same role.
Yeah, basically. Of the aliens.
But yeah, I just watched that because there's no reference to them being ape-like or simian at all, and when he peels his face off at the end, it's more of a charred, burned.
Yeah, horror face than it is.
Than
like
it is an
a-
ape. Yeah.
An ape.
But I mean, they're the same species.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
the same villains.
Yeah, so
The black hole
works
alien,
by me.
The black hole aliens are working with Dr. Mifune and his Titanosaurus, because the dinosaur does exist.
Because he is a scientist that can control or animals, or that was his research, so he kind of knows how to do that.
Dr. Mifune's backstory is that he was a great scientist. He was known the world over until he came out one day and went, "I found a dinosaur. I'm going to control it." And all the other scientists
nerds batter him.
All the other scientists were like, "Bullshit!" And we're going by the photos, like
they batter him.
They fucking like lay into him. Yeah, like
they do. They kick him.
They get him on the ground and like getting a few punches and kicks.
Imagine at a Nobel Prize like conference, someone just came out with a crazy idea like that, and then just everyone got up and just started kicking the shit out of this guy.
So, long story short, the aliens of Dr. Mifune are going to use Mechagodzilla and Titanosaurus to exact Mifune's revenge on mankind and take over the Earth because the black hole aliens planet is in its final days, it's dying. It's up to Interpol, our marine biologist, and of course, Godzilla to save the day.
And there's the daughter.
Yeah, I've mentioned Katsura.
Oh, good.
Well, I've not mentioned her to the extent of how important she is in the plot.
Look, she's quite important.
She's right.
And she's beautiful.
I have met Tomoko Ai, okay, and she is still radiant.
Yeah,
she
I bet.
is an absolute dream.
Yeah, you met. Who else did you meet?
Met in G-Fest in 2014. I met Tomoko Ai, who plays Katsura in this film, and I met Katsuhiko Sasaki, who plays Ichinosi, the marine biologist. He was also in Godzilla vs. Megalon. He invented Jet Jaguar.
That's right.
Got my DVD signed. Got photos with them. I'll post them.
Good for you.
So,
good summary. Good summary.
Yeah.
So, I have a lot to talk about. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, no, so do I.
But yeah, no, I really did enjoy this. This does feel like a good, big last hurrah for Ishiro Honda. You can tell that there is actually a lot of real effort in this. I just found it like immensely entertaining, and I think just, again, that little bit of extra attention to the human characters and a story that properly kind of allows real importance for the human characters. Everything that they do has actual importance. They have a lot of involvement in the sort of final scenes. It's not just... Oh, I mean, this is the first film, to my knowledge, where at the end of the final fight, the humans are helping Godzilla.
Yeah, they're directly involved in
assisting him, and they're sort of they are literally working together. Yeah. Godzilla's laying into Titanosaurus while they sort of blast him. Yeah. But I'm not even sure where I would like to start.
Well, an observation I was going to lead off with is that what I find really interesting about this film, and what we're talking, we've spoken so much in all these episodes about tonal variety.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tonal variety in this film, because this film is simultaneously sort of, an espionage thriller, an alien invasion movie, a giant monster wrestling match. But what I find most interesting about this film's tone and its visuals, its aesthetics, its sort of set design, etc., its mise en scène, is that there's a real gothic quality hanging over everything. Like Dr. Mifune's house.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that same thing.
When Ichinosi and his friend from college, the Interpol agent, go and inquire about Mifune, like it's got a real like Hammer horror vibe.
Yeah, certainly. Like a big sort of autumn leaves.
Yeah, like it's dark, it's dull, it's muted colours, it's sort of dark drab browns and greys, and he asks some locals, oh, we don't go to that house. It's people are scared to go. It's haunted. Like that's right out of a horror movie. That's really fun. So yeah, they go to this drab, horrible, rundown mansion. And the creepy girl answers the door, and a real gothic quality hanging over it. And it somehow the aesthetics don't clash when you go underneath the house and it's like a super scientific space laboratory.
Yeah, because I would say I agree that this is one of those Godzilla movies where there's a lot. They're doing a lot. It's not just a little bit of espionage.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, a little bit of space, a little bit of military, kind of war room style stuff that I will get to in a second. But what I found is that tonally, there was, for me, a consistency. It didn't feel all over the place. Like some of the films maybe have, where there's one funny scene and one scene that's played deadly serious. It felt that, again, just buoyed by fairly decent character relationships,
Yeah.
it's much easier to sort of follow all these different kind of places that the film takes you, and to keep it all sort of in that world, making it feel sort of actually real.
Yeah, no, totally.
Because, well, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, the thing that I actually found the most compelling, was for a majority of the film, it's almost two sides, two groups of human characters sort of battling against each other. I think the strongest elements for me is the way the film's put together. We get one big monster fight near the end. There's a few nearlies and a few little teases.
Yeah.
You never seeing Mechagodzilla only as a suit, a powered down suit, until near the very end.
Yeah.
Very, very effective. For so much of the film, it's two groups. You have almost the war room, and surrounding people involved. You know, the office of the Interpol office. That's war room number one. War room number two is the sort of Mechagodzilla base with the aliens. Both of these sides, we understand what they're trying to do. The reasons for both the aliens, Dr. Mifune and his daughter, are all made clear to us. So they're just as engaging to watch, rather than sort of just villains plop down to sort of fulfill the details of the plot. So there's at least a little bit of shading there that means there's a little bit of conflict for me. I want my good guys to win, but I enjoy watching the villains, so maybe I would like to see more of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means you've got a good movie.
Like, both sides are entertaining to watch.
Both sides are entertaining to watch.
There's a lot going on in this movie. What I really liked is that I really like the recap opening, like recapping Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, just basically reminding us that Godzilla and Mechagodzilla have fought before and they were defeated. But what I find really funny about Terror of Mechagodzilla as a whole, and by extension that prologue specifically, is that no one gives a fuck about King Caesar. No one mentions King Caesar. No one mentions that King Caesar helped defeat Mechagodzilla, because you know what? He didn't help.
Nah, who cares?
And so that's kind of funny. It's like in if you cast your mind back to Invasion of Astro Monster, when the Exians ask for the assistance of Godzilla and Rodan because they've repelled King Ghidorah before. So did Mothra.
Yeah.
Mothra was instrumental, my friends.
Please, bring back Mothra.
But King Caesar wasn't, so
King Caesar did nothing. Did he? He was the ancient...
Big Doug.
Oh yeah, the big Doug.
Aye.
Nah, he was alright.
You kept calling him a weird gremlin thing.
Yeah, the weird gremlin dog thing. Totally.
He was wakened up by a very long song.
Can we pause very briefly to talk about the aliens?
Yes, the aliens from the third planet of the black hole.
Amazing dress sense.
Now
normally
this
my compliments
movie won
for
the Academy Award for costume design.
Did it?
Good.
Good. Because normally my costume compliments mostly go towards Jun Fukuda's films, but fucking they're blown out the water based on that one alien's amazing clothes.
Like, it's like he's wearing a radio station as a hat.
I mean, do we have the name of the bearded alien?
Not off the top of my head.
No. Well, the goateed alien.
The number two,
The number two, Just again, very effective villains. They tell us at the very beginning, in a much more menacing scene, you actually do feel the menace. They're both in suits that they plan, and they show us their plan. They plan to demolish and take over the Earth and sort of build their own city and plant their own civilization on top so that they can once again thrive.
Yeah.
The bearded guy, the goateed guy, first of all, already that's an impeccable look for a villain. That big, like, jutting out of the chin goatee and the sort of round glasses.
Yeah, they all wear shaded glasses. They're not quite sunglasses, they're not quite glasses.
Yeah, they're villain's glasses. They're proper villain's glasses. But throughout the film, he wears all sorts of just great little ensemble costumes. He's in his black suit, he looks very intimidating in that. Later on, he'll wear the classic alien silver. For a big chunk of the film, that guy wears a green cardigan.
That's right.
Even when he's on his home spaceship base,
his casual wear,
he wears human casual wear green cardigans, and he looks great. In a flashback, he wears that sort of red uniform.
Yeah, like a red surgeon's uniform.
Yeah, it's also great.
Do you want to talk about that?
What, the flashback?
Because that's weird.
What?
It's weird. It is weird. Like when there's the flashback to younger Mifune and younger Katsura. And
I mean, it's a clunky scene.
It's okay. That can open us up to the negative things I have to say about this film.
Okay, well, I'll let you do that.
I mean, there's not too much, but like they're there, and they need to be addressed.
Right.
If we're going to give each film a fair appraisal.
Sure. So I hear both sides, Stephen.
That scene where, younger Katsura, who is literally just Tomoko Ai in
pigtails,
a wee girl's clothes, and it's weird, anyway. She gets electrocuted and perishes.
Uh-huh.
And Dr. Mifune's all like, oh no, oh no.
What am I going to do?
What am I going to do? First my wife now, huh?
Oh,
mate. But then suddenly... bearded alien
Goateed.
and two goateed alien and two hired goons come in red surgeon's uniform.
Just take her away.
Take away Katsura, and Mifune's going, who are you? What are you doing? And they make her a cyborg and bring her back to life. What's the story of this?
Because they established that she had some sort of weird power in the first scene, so they had to tie that back in.
Yeah, but like. Were they monitoring Mifune and Katsura for a while before that, and they were just waiting for the opportunity to turn her into a robot?
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like there's a detail missing in the script that could have given Mifune, an opportunity for redemption, maybe.
Yeah, certainly.
It would have been an interesting detail to add in, like, this is just missing from the script, but it's obvious. It's not in the text at all, but this is obvious. The aliens were interested all those years ago in Mifune and Katsura because of Titanosaurus.
Oh.
Like, they wanted Titanosaurus, and they wanted Mifune...
Because he's the guy kind of
who can
doing that
control,
research.
who can control it. So they fucking bided their time. Bode their time? Bade. They waited a while.
Yeah.
And they should have just added in the script, they were responsible for Katsura's death.
Yeah.
They did it.
And that makes a bit more sense.
They did it
together.
in order to make her a weapon.
Yeah.
Make her their weapon, and then by extension have Titanosaurus under their control. Then, later in the film, and maybe at a crucial moment, you can have Dr. Mifune learn this and, redeem himself.
Uh-huh.
And
that's
like
fair.
Turn... Well, I'm not saying, turn good, but have a role in defeating the aliens, because that's another fault I feel with this, and it's a shame because I really don't think Mifune is a fitting role for someone as an actor so influential and important to the series as Akihiko Hirata. Like, Dr. Serizawa is probably the most iconic and important human character in all of Kaiju cinema, and a lot of that's down to his performance. But Mifune is just a prick.
Yeah,
like, he is an irredeemable cock. Like, he is... there's nothing I like about him. Like, it's a shame he was cast out of society and, like, his wife died, but he's a dick about it. He's still a dick about it.
A prick.
And, like, he's like, Katsura, you need to work hard. Your mother died in poverty and contempt. Those are the words he uses.
Yeah,
It's a way
to get his daughter to work.
Way to fucking guilt trip your daughter to get her on your side.
I know, your
And, like,
cyborg daughter.
And like, he's just
he's sold to aliens.
He's an irredeemable dick. And, like, it's a shame because they could have given him an opportunity for not quite redemption, like, but, to make a good decision.
See, I actually disagree.
Oh, do you?
Really, yeah.
All right, okay.
I first of all think I was kind of not dreading, but for the entire film, I was kind of expecting in the back of my mind, it's like, I know the scientist and the daughter will redeem themselves at some point near the end of this film. And then it became clear to me that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And
Katsura does.
Well, Katsura does at least. And no, that's fine. I'm glad Katsura gets a little bit of redemption.
It's more about her.
Because there's a love story there with the marine biologist that I do with Ichinosi.
It's because I was conscious when I said Ichinosi earlier. I did say it pretty close to like Ichinosi, and I heard it in my head. I was going to acknowledge it. I skipped past it.
We've acknowledged the elephant in the room. It was there the whole time. I'm glad it's out there, Stephen. I feel much more comfortable. But no. Glad that Katsura had Katsura had her redemption. That was nice, or a little bit. But no, Dr. Mifune worked for me so well because he is the anti-Serizawa, and it's a chance for
Akihiko Hirata.
Chance for the actor to play.
Did you say Akihiko Hirata?
No, I did not. It's a chance for the actor to And you can tell that he's really enjoying himself.
Yeah.
I think you can actually tell that there's a lot in that character. It is the anti-Serizawa. It's a doctor that instead of a pursuit of sort of human knowledge and betterment, that perhaps in Godzilla maybe got too far and led to some bad consequences. This is just hate and anger and vengeance. This is just greed and ignorance.
I do agree. And this is going to sound really silly, right? But I think I would enjoy Mifune as a character a lot more, okay, if you didn't have the stupid fucking grey wig and the grey
No,
moustache.
that's the best.
No,
That's
it
such a
looks fucking
distinctive look.
dumb. It looks like Albert Einstein. He looks like a mad scientist plucked from a book.
No, he looked like a scientist that's been a horrible recluse.
No, because in the flashbacks where
he looks quite handsome.
We are dangerously close to an argument here, Rob.
I know.
For the first time on this podcast, they've been waiting for this.
I know, blood.
In those
Steve's got a bit too angry.
See, it's happened again. Like last episode, I described Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla too passionately, and I threw my voice, and I've fucking done it again. It's your fault.
I guess you just like Kaijusaurus movies a lot.
Kaijusaurus
Kaiju movies.
Ugh. Right, I'm gonna...
Steven, if you're going to correct me for every one of my little quirks here, we're going to be here for a very long time. Carry on.
It's a good thing Anguirus isn't in any more movies for a while. Right, in those flashbacks, I'm going to try and get my voice a
Would you like some more, Steven?
No, I'm good. I'll power through it. In the flashbacks, where we see Akihiko Harada as Mifune being expelled from society and the scientific community, and he looks really dishevelled, and he's getting a lot of stubble on his face, and he's got like big dark circles under his eyes, and he looks. That's how he should have looked in the film.
Fair.
That's how I should you put a bit of grey in his hair. Put some grey in his hair, but don't have him like fucking Doc Brown.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. Going back to sort of generally, I like the tragic nature of that character. I like, although he doesn't redeem himself, I feel like there is like a lot of characterization there. He is introduced. He is an absolute dick. He really is.
Yeah.
But I like the flashback. It's because it's really. Before I'm not even talking about after the explosion and the involvement of the aliens.
Sure.
I'm really just talking about the first 10-15 seconds where you see father and daughter working on something sort of harmoniously.
Yeah.
It was a happy time. It's in yellow. It's a sort of much brighter flashback.
Yeah.
He looks good, kind of clean shaven, well cut.
Yeah.
She looks cute or whatever.
She looks like a normal wee lassie.
Yeah, like normal lassie. And I like that so much because you just see, looking at him now, that is where greed, anger, vengeance, these sort of horrible things, that's where that takes you.
Yeah, okay.
I think that, it's clearly sort of anti-Serizawa, and I think that it is a meatier role than sort of some of the other characters that he's had, occasionally popping in to play various bits.
Yeah, the role is really an opportunity to just ham it up and chew the scenery.
Yeah.
Which is fun, and he does, because he even says a line that's something along the lines of, "Then I'll take my revenge on those fellows who cast me out of society." And Katsura's is going, "Father, chill."
And,
what's interesting? Sorry?
No. I was just saying, but at the end of the day, I just love, for the first time, characters almost siding with the kaiju. Characters almost like on the enemy side. Not just... Often we have enemy characters and human enemies... For whom, we have plenty of human enemies. But for the very first time, we have human enemies that are actively supporting the kaiju.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to bring something up that's directly tied to that. It's interesting that in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, Akihiko Harada plays an Earth scientist who is made to work on Mechagodzilla against his will. Whereas in Terror of Mechagodzilla, he plays an Earth scientist who happily works on Mechagodzilla to his own ends.
Yeah, no, totally. And that to me is
a
just
good little parallel.
Yeah, certainly. And I think it's just that to me is always more interesting. Why would he want to do that?
Yeah.
So when I realised that was the case, it made me really excited, and that was one of the things that was really pulling me through this movie, was just seeing how it is for these human characters, or one human and one cyborg, to deal with these aliens and to kind of deal with the fact that they're using kaiju. And the scene where his daughter sort of comes to a little bit of a realisation, if I'm right. She kind of begs or what is it she says?
Is it when she asks Ichinosi to kill her because the Mechagodzilla control function?
No,
is inside her?
I mean that's lovely as well. But specifically, she says something to her dad, like maybe.
Oh yeah,
it's when he wants to use him for revenge.
And she's saying, "Oh, but if the aliens take over, horrible monsters such as King Ghidorah, Rodan, Manda will destroy cities."
Yeah, is that
kill
what we're going to do? Why are we? Yeah, no, I like that. I just think there's lots of great questions raised there. It's just so much more complex and interesting, and it made it all a little bit more complex than just we must defeat the aliens once again. And while Godzilla fights randomly away from us with nothing that has anything to do with us.
What's really great? You know, in this scene in the finale when Ichinosi is tied down in the alien's bunker, but he breaks free and he uses his rope to strangle the goateed alien.
Yeah.
The cutting back and forth between Ichinosi strangling the alien with the rope and Godzilla holding Titanosaurus. So that he can be shot with the supersonic blast machine, is great because like they're both
important and relevant fights,
and they're both having their fights, and it's a nice little visual parallel of Ichinosi behind the alien and Godzilla behind Titanosaurus, and that's a lot of fun. It's some nice, clever visual editing, but that's what I was going to bring up. There's we talked about and joked about this during the film itself. There are a lot of weird editing decisions in this film. There's a lot of weird editing decisions. Like you said, with like the old man who's tailing Katsura.
Yeah, and there's just weird 3.5 second shots of him over and over again.
Yeah, there's 3 shots of him looking outside of a car, and they both last like maybe a second each or something.
Yeah,
and he's in the employ of Mifune. He's just, I don't know, he's his housekeeper or whatever. He's his groundskeeper. I don't know, whatever. Just doesn't fucking matter. But yeah, and those just go boop, boop,
yeah,
and like it's clearly, well, it's obviously just one take split up into several shots, and then there's the scene later where the old man and Katsura are walking away, and then they're just gone.
Yeah, like just absolutely disappear. Saying that though, at the same time, those were just grievous errors that were really glaringly like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But there were some actually still really great sequences and really great pieces of editing. When the aliens, there's a scene where the aliens start to laugh angrily, menacingly, and it plays over the sounds of evacuating city folk. And that was like almost a sort of goosebumps.
Yeah.
Goosebumps on my arm, not the novel by R.L. Stein. Goosebumps on my arm kind of feeling.
Yeah. That's great.
You get the sense with that shot, laughter over people running. You get a real sense of the influence of these aliens. That these people don't know how much aliens are involved in their affairs.
Yeah.
How close they are to sort of being completely obliterated, not just attacked by, not just crushed by Godzilla or Titanosaurus, but their world being dominated. They just don't know.
Well, that's another thing about like the tone of this film. This is a bleak film.
Yeah.
This has got a really bleak, downtrodden tone.
Yeah, there's real stakes.
Yeah, exactly. And the finale of the film does feel like this is doomsday. Like this is it. Like if we and Godzilla don't fucking defeat these aliens, that's it.
Yeah,
it's fucking over. And a lot of that is reflected in the special effects work of Teruyushi Nakano, who I think I said to you last time was like fucking superb at explosions and like set Toho on fire several times. Like see when Mechagodzilla and Titanosaurus' assault on Tokyo is fucking brilliant.
So good.
It's so good. Like when Mechagodzilla is just firing his beams and he just I'm making motions with my arms, but you can't see them.
Laser motions.
Yeah, and he just moves silently and slowly but calculated, and he destroys a whole city block. And then later he uses his finger missiles just, and then like the ground explodes.
Yeah,
like,
it just rips open.
No, it's incredible. It really looks like catastrophic end of fucking days. Fucking style destruction.
Yeah, no, totally. Going very briefly back to that scene where Katsura realizes and sort of like monologues to her father about all the different monsters that there've been. When they just show sort of in each corner of the screen all these different monster attacks sort of layered over and over each other till it sounds like this big cacophonous horrible mess. That again is also just really does set how dreadful an attack is, how disruptive, how terrible these monster attacks are, how many of there have been.
That's another example of something we've spoke about a lot in this podcast, is the sort of subtle world building of this Showa Godzilla series. Katsura just lists off King Ghidorah, Rodan and Manda like there's everyday things, because they are. Like, they're known.
Big events,
like, stuff has happened.
Yeah.
Prior to this film. We don't need to know. Like, we know that's happened. And there's a great scene earlier in the film where our Interpol agent kind of takes his boss aside and says, we were attacked by men on the mountain, and they had really strange silencers on their guns. They're not like anything we have.
Yeah.
And he says, you think they were aliens? And it's like, that's great. Like, aliens.
Yeah.
They're just a matter of fact.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
It's happened several times. There was that whole woman from Venus thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're just a matter of fact.
Well, that was in the future, wasn't it?
No, that was in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. It was in the future, 1999, was Destroy All Monsters, and that was the Kilax.
Correct.
But I mean, well, to my mind, this takes place in the post-1999 world of Destroy All Monsters, but
certainly
there's continuity to contradict that. But
we could talk about that all day. What you're saying.
That's how I see it. That's my opinion.
Don't we move on to sort of big finale of the film or sort of last half hour, and you tell me the thing that you sort of tapped me on the shoulder to let me know when we were watching the movie about Godzilla.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I paused it at approximately 44 seconds. 44 seconds?
44 minutes.
44 minutes. 44 seconds! Godzilla hasn't even been mentioned yet! Like, 44 minutes in. And Godzilla hadn't been seen nor mentioned.
No.
He's in the opening credits, but it's footage from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla.
And I'll be honest, I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't even realise, do you?
Yeah, it worked for me, yeah.
And then we could... On the first mention of the word Godzilla, 46 and a half minutes in. Like, 46 minutes in. That's a lot. That's a while in. And like you said, by the time you realise he's not been in the film, you're like, oh shit, he actually hasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's great because they introduce him so subtly, because the Titanosaurus is on the rampage, and the bearded alien is like, oh, fuck, what's happening? And the lead alien goes, don't worry, it's fine. Check this. Godzilla's coming, gonna kill him.
Aye, we'll get him.
But they just introduced him really offhand, like, what do you see here? Who's the most powerful enemy of Mechagodzilla? It's Godzilla. He's coming. Titanosaurus will weaken him. He'll be weak. He will defeat Titanosaurus, but he'll be weakened. Mechagodzilla will get in and kill him.
Totally. But here's the thing. Godzilla shows up about 45 minutes into the film. That's about when the first big fight happens anyway. I mean... Second big fight. So it's almost just like doesn't waste time. Rather than giving us a scene where like, oh, Godzilla's coming out of the water. Godzilla's talking to Titanosaurus.
Well, great opportunity to talk about that fucking entrance.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Terror of Mechagodzilla has one of the best Godzilla entrances in the whole franchise.
So good. So well directed. Big boom from Ashiro Honda. Really enjoying himself.
Oh, you know what I've not mentioned? Fucking Akira Ifukube is back on the music.
Oh yeah, totally. Great music.
Yeah, that was pretty important. I should have mentioned that. You probably could pick it up, but
you probably heard it.
He's back, and that's the last collaboration of Honda, Ifukube, and Tomoyuki Tanaka, the producer.
The squad.
Yeah. R.I.P. Ichi Tsuburaya. R.I.P. I love that now. But yeah.
Did you just feel a lot of grief there at once, Steve?
I feel too much.
Carry on.
But yeah, so the Titanosaurus is on the rampage, but we just suddenly cut away to a quieter part of the city. We still hear a lot of boom, destruction in the background, but we see a quieter. So we hear a siren faintly in the background. Quieter, pan along, and we just see a huge silhouette rising from behind buildings.
Oh, so good.
Cuts back to Titanosaurus. He's blasted with a shot of a blue atomic fire, falls on his back and writhes. He's like, what the fuck is this? And then we cut back to that shot. extreme close-up, really fast zoom in. Godzilla roars, his theme fucking kicks in.
Yeah.
There's like explosions of light, and he roars. It's like, fucking yes!
So good. And he shot, and he immediately sizes up for Titanosaurus. It's shot really low.
Yeah.
The camera just spinning around them, almost like it's the entrance or the beginning of like a Street Fighter game. Like, it's just, this is the fight. It's about to start. We sort of pan round the buildings.
Yeah.
It's such a good entrance.
Yeah.
It kicks off such a good fight. And I feel like that's actually a far better build-up than just having Godzilla show up randomly throughout the film.
It's fun because,
Ishiro Honda, he knows exactly when to use him. You know, that he made the first Godzilla film.
Yeah.
He's made so many of them since, and if anyone knows exactly when to deploy Godzilla, it's him, surely.
It's fun though because obviously you've seen a lot of these films now. Godzilla's appearance is more often than not anticipated. Like,
Yes.
there's a big build up to Godzilla's appearance, whereas in this we're given maybe 30 seconds notice.
Yeah.
Godzilla's coming, then just he's there.
He's there, and
Like,
it's so good.
There's no like. I mean, I love this shit, but you know, there's none of him, you know, slowly rising out of the water, then like making his way onto land, then making his way to the monster, but no, he's just there.
Yeah.
He's just fucking there, and they take that even further in the finale when he reappears, because Titanosaurus and Mechagodzilla are on the rampage again. Two little kids try and sneak around a corner to see Titanosaurus. It's like, oh god, oh, and they start running away, and they go, oh, Godzilla, help us! And he just fucking appears in the middle of the city. It's like he literally appears from off screen. He just rises up from the bottom of the frame.
Ready to help.
That's it. He's there, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because there's no need to build up his appearance if there is no need.
Exactly,
he can just be there.
He can just be there.
Yeah.
Shorthand.
Yeah,
We know what it's like for Godzilla to appear out the water. I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Just put him in front of the building. Just have him be in the city
Yeah.
already. Great. So much of that fight is just brilliant. It's brutal. The throws are very funny, of course.
The throws,
They're
with
floating up and down the landscape
the
as they
empty
go.
suits, yeah.
Yeah. But I love a good Godzilla throw. Godzilla charges a lot in this movie. He does a big full body charge of Titanosaurus.
And again, he
it's
takes
great.
a fucking hell of a beating.
Yeah.
Like, he really takes a
He
beating.
really does. He's got this little snub nose. He's like a little pug Godzilla.
Well, it's fun because he does look a bit meaner. Like,
Yeah.
he's got a kind of a growl in his face. Like, he's ready for a fucking fight. Whereas, you know, previous films, Megalon, he did look a bit like, you know, puppy faced.
Yeah.
And, you know.
He can look a bit cute.
Here's a personal anecdote about this film. I got this film on VHS in the UK. In I can't remember where I found it, but I found it on VHS somewhere in the UK. And you know, when I was maybe 7 or 8 or something, and the film was rated 15.
Right.
And obviously, you know, when you're that age and you see a 15 film, you're like, oh my god, this
Wow.
taste
Dare
the
I?
forbidden fruit.
Dare I?
And like, obviously, my dad as well was like really confused. Like,
Yeah.
why is this a 15? Like, am I gonna have to watch this before to make sure it's okay? Like, it's making sure it's suitable. And no, but he just let me watch it. And you know, can you guess the reason why it was rated 15?
There was a booby.
There was two boobies. There was two boobies. Yeah, and that's the entire reason. And like, they're prosthetic boobies.
They are prosthetic
But
boobies.
you know, a tit's a tit.
A tit's
tit
a
for
tit.
tat.
To quote our nation's bard, Robbie Burns, a tit's a tit for all that.
I'll call a tit a tit.
So the Kaijusaurus Podcast is cancelled.
Yeah,
everyone.
that's it.
That's it. It's over. But
yeah,
yeah,
so
no, I mean,
it
there's
was
they're boobs. Didn't know I would see it.
Granted a 15 rating in the United Kingdom by the British Board of Film Classification for prosthetic titties.
For trois
fake tits.
Oh, dear.
That's a Robert Burns poem, eh? Trois fake tits.
Trois fake tits. Aye, that's my favourite. Sang that at Burns night. It's a song.
For trois fake tits.
Right, I have a few other little things that I just want to run through now. I've kind of ploughed through my big thoughts and my big feelings.
We've got through the meat of the episode.
Yeah, through the meat of the movie, but I have just a few things that
fine.
just kind of
Just
amuse
seconds.
me.
I'm just gonna tick tits off of my
Off your list,
my
of your checklist
my
of things
notes
we've
list,
talked about.
yeah.
I think This movie's good because I find it really entertaining, and there's also a lot of classic, like, little weird things that fuck up and strange things. My favourite scene ever is when the main alien is just whipping his alien soldiers, and then sends them to jail in the same breath, if I'm right, goes, take them away to the execution zone. And he's just like, he's punished them, whipped them, and then he's like, right.
This is not enough.
This will not do.
They've not learned their lesson, and they never will.
And they never will. They will get executed, which I think is so funny.
The leader of the aliens, Mughal, is great.
Mughal, yeah. A good double act there, again, just very convincing aliens. And the other one looked more menacing in his little green cardigan than he did actually in his alien clothes.
Because, I mean, that's someone who could just walk into your job one day and like, intimidate you.
Yeah, totally. He's more intimidating with the cardigan. I don't know what it is. Because he wears it so well. With such confidence.
Oh, this is the worst episode since our Godzilla's Revenge episode.
Which one was that?
You remember Godzilla's Revenge?
No, I mean, which film was that?
No, I'm saying you remember Godzilla's Revenge, like Ichiro the kid, and he imagined.
Oh yeah, no, I knew it is. What's the other title for it?
All Monsters Attack.
All Monsters Attack. That's what I know it as.
Come on,
please,
please, Ross. You're a fan by now. Well, I mean, we have reached the end of the first series of Godzilla films.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's going to be weird for me to adjust to because I don't really know what's different. If there's any sort of I'll ask you, is there any sort of noticeable difference in terms of intention or scope, or is it much more of a just sort of categorical kind of term, like used for just to differentiate these eras of when the films were made?
All the eras do feel distinctly different.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, I think I've said this before in this podcast, there's a really nice organic quality in the turnover of the staff in Toho's Godzilla films. Like, for example, this is Teruyushi Nakano directed the special effects for this in 1975. He would direct the special effects for the next film in 1984.
Right, okay, it's a while
yeah.
for our next one. 9 years.
Well, yeah, so as we've mentioned in previous episodes, through the 70s, the box office returns are diminishing. This film did really bad business.
Did it?
It did do really bad business, and so it was finally time to call it a day.
Yeah.
It was no. Sad as it is, it was no longer financially viable to make Godzilla movies. To make Godzilla movies, yeah. And it's a shame because that last shot of Godzilla swinging out into the ocean for the last time is really bittersweet to me. And it does just getting me a little bit because it is the end of an era.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were no Godzilla films for 9 years. Toho considered there was many aborted projects. Stuff like they were going to do an out-and-out remake of the original.
All right.
They were going to do crossovers with previous Toho monsters like Godzilla versus the Gargantuas, that sort of thing. There was long rumoured a movie being considered called Godzilla versus the Devil, like in the wake of the popularity of things like The Exorcist and The Omen. But it turns out this was just a huge misunderstanding, and that there was never actually a film planned called Godzilla versus the Devil, which fucking disappoints the hell out of me.
That would have been so good.
I would have loved to have seen
it. It would have been like he just rips a hole in the ground and just jumps on down to hell.
Well, the plot was literally the devil attacks Earth. Like, the devil launches an assault on Earth, and literally the only thing that can stand in its way is Godzilla. And that would have been cool. That's awesome.
That would have been cool. But yeah, no, so...
It just didn't happen.
No.
So traction starts to build up in the 80s, etc. Like, not only, like, interest in Toho's side, but public interest. Like, people start to want Godzilla back. There's a big sort of unofficial, so like semi-official fan committee formed to bring back Godzilla, make a new Godzilla movie, and this gathers a lot of traction and a lot of media attention, a lot of mainstream media attention, like Japan. Actor Akiko Hirata was in this group.
Oh, right.
Like, he really advocated for the return of Godzilla. Like, he would go on TV and do interviews, like dressed as Serizawa, and like advocate for Toho to make a new Godzilla film. And they eventually did, which will be the next film you and I watch and review together on this show.
And what is it called?
Well, in Japan, it was simply called Godzilla.
Right. Interesting.
Its international English title is The Return of Godzilla.
The Return of Godzilla.
In America known as Godzilla 1985.
Cool.
Now, what's interesting about this film? I am going to preface this one a little bit for you. It is a direct sequel to the original film only.
Okay.
It ignores every film between Godzilla Raids Again and Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Cool. That's interesting. I like that. I want to give that a shot.
Akihiko Hirata was set to play a role in this film. He died a few months before filming.
That's a shame.
He had cancer.
Oh, that's a shame.
But the role was filled by one of his Ghidorah the Rated Monster co-stars, which is nice.
That's nice.
So the Return of Godzilla is next for us, and we're in the 80s.
Yeah, that's good. Now, as we bow out of Terror of Mechagodzilla, I will ask, what does everyone else think? You seemed a bit surprised that I just said that generally I was just having a great time in this movie and I kind of liked it more.
Well, see, Terror of Mechagodzilla, I think it's seen as, like, the series went out with dignity.
A noble...
It's not like... Yeah, like a noble last hurrah. It's a noble last hurrah. That's kind of how I see it. It's not like considered like an all-time classic or anything. But, it's... I think it's generally considered not the best, but a good point for that series to have ended on. Totally.
Well, I thought it was brilliant. don't use. What will I finish with? So you just said good series to end on. I was like, and I do agree with that.
Yeah.
And I really did like Terror of Mechagodzilla just because I was having a great time.
Good. I enjoy this film a lot too. I think there's a lot to chew on repeat viewings.
No, totally, and we had a blast.
Yeah, we did have a blast. There's a lot of fun to be had with this film and at its expense.
That's it. I think it's the perfect balance. I think there was just enough. There was a lot that I liked and just enough wrong with it that it was just perfect.
What we're thinking of doing next, folks, is we're considering doing a sort of story so far episode.
See what I remember.
See what Ross remembers. We're doing, sort of reflections on...
we could do it like a quiz.
We could...
do a quiz!
Do you want me to make a quiz for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. One question for each film?
Yeah.
Cool, I'll do that.
With bonus questions.
So we want to do like a sort of recap on the Showa series before we dive into the Heisei series. Starting with The Return of Godzilla, directed by Koji Hashimoto.
Oh, new names!
Yeah,
new names, new faces.
Yeah. And I really like the next film. Cool. I really, really like it.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you for listening as always. Social media will be in the show notes: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, etc. We're on SoundCloud and iTunes, the Kaijusaurus Podcast. Ross, any other business?
No business.
Superb. Well, we're on our way back to swim home to Monster Island for the last time.
And hopefully we'll see you...
We'll see you in 9 years.
Yeah, we'll see you in 9 years. We're going to take another big break.
We'll see you in 2025.
No, I think we'll try and get another episode out.
Yeah, we'll try and get one out soon enough. Well, maybe this show or recap we're thinking in maybe like in the next week or two, maybe something like that. Yeah, like a more casual episode.
Casual, yes.
To ease us out.
Yes, exactly. And back in again in the span of an hour. Cool. But anyway, folks, thank you for listening as always. We've been quite energetic today. We've been a couple of...
Twat fake tits.
That's funny.
Thank you all.
Yep, see you.
See you next time.